amendment of any designation of any landmark, protected landmark, historic district, or archaeological site, and any enlargement of the boundaries of any historic district or archaeological site shall require action by the City Council and shall follow the rules for application, notice, public hearing, and recommendation by the HAHC used for designation of the landmark, historic district, or archaeological site. States further, nothing herein shall be construed to require the City Council to follow all of the procedures used in the designation if the amendment is solely for the purpose of correcting minor technical errors, including, but not limited to, errors in property descriptions that are necessary to implement the intent of the City Council with respect to the designation. So that's pretty much on point, Mayor, and it requires Council to either accept or reject what has been submitted to us, with the exception of making minor technical errors. That's specifically on point, section 33-227 of the Historic Preservation Ordinance, which addresses amendments, changes, and boundaries. So therefore, I'm re-urging the position that the motion is out of order. Thank you.
I'd like to hear from the City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. I am familiar with the language, council member. And while it is true that the ordinance does not expressly provide that council could amend boundaries that are recommended to it, likewise, it does not prohibit council either. The language that you just referred to is language that is specific as to making corrections. There is nothing that addresses the issue of whether or not, that expressly addresses the issue of whether or not council could actually amend boundaries that are recommended to it. The City Council serves several capacities. One is in a purely legislative capacity that is served in adopting that ordinance in the first place, but it also serves in a quasi-judicial capacity, council member, when it acts on these recommendations. Serving in a quasi-judicial capacity, it can interpret its own ordinance. The majority of this council desires to interpret this ordinance as permitting the amendment, a change to the boundaries by amendment. I believe that it has the authority to do so, and that any court would give due deference to the interpretation of council sitting first as a legislative body and then secondly as a quasi-judicial body. So I believe it can be done.
Okay, go ahead to respond to that. Thank you. Mr. President, the particular section of the ordinance that my colleagues on council addresses specifically, it doesn't require any interpretation at all. It is specifically on point. It deals with amendments or changes in boundaries to the Historic Preservation Ordinance as presented to this body for action. It's specifically on point. And it states specifically that council does not have to follow all the procedures if it wants to change the boundaries if an amendment is solely for the purpose of correcting technical errors. And this is not a technical error, so I'm going to yield, and I think the ordinance speaks for itself on its face, that it doesn't permit changes other than for technical errors.
What I'm saying is this is a procedure that's not a draft.
And to Councilmember Bradford's point of order, I'm sympathetic to the point of order, and council members need to make up their own mind. I will be voting against it because I don't think it's good policy, but I've been persuaded that it is within council's discretion to make this decision. Councilmember Robinson.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the fact that we've got a new map here. Have the numbers been crunched in addition to the map?
It takes out 2 no votes, so the number actually goes up.
Right.
The number of support actually goes
Any
up.
math been applied to that? I guess 55 applicants, 2 more, 67, fair enough. Somewhere,
If it takes out 2 people who were against it,
happy to know. Thank you.
Councilor Starting.
I'm concerned about the amendment, the discussion, without, I mean, how many of these no votes would have come down here and asked to be taken out of the scenario if they had the opportunity to know that that was part of the rules? We're changing the rules of the game at the table, then that takes out the predictability and creates confusion and so on and so forth. I don't have to explain that part of what emotions are created. So if Councilmember Costello, if you would reconsider.
Are you
deferring
asking
you.
to speak? If you look at the original map as proposed in the RCA, there was a reason purposely why they crossed over Crockett and picked up 2008, 2006 lot was to capture the balance of the district to the north. And they're taking over a landowner that's not interested in being there. They can accomplish the same thing by doing it through what we have just reviewed. And still honoring that particular person's request not to be in the district.
May I? But my point was, if I may reclaim my time, my point was that those that are in the boundaries again, that it just doesn't, we're changing the rules at the table, and I just don't think, as the mayor stated, as my colleague stated, this just is not a way of doing business. It's not a best practice, and I'm concerned about what the message we're sending, that we can't be accountable or consistent at the table. Thank you.